Hi there, and welcome on the journey to transform culture. I'm Steve, and I'll be your guide. Well, folks, I hope you're having a fantastic day and an even better week. Still suffering from a bit of a head cold, so I apologize for that. I'll be probably not able to breathe out of my nose for a minute, so I'll keep this one tight. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about exponential leaps in performance. One of the ways, and this isn't going to be about, motivating our teams and all that. This is going to be a little bit more about problem solving and finding an exponential leap. So if you think about exponential leap, picture a staircase, and in your mind's eye, of course, and picture a staircase. To go up this staircase, you go step over step, right? Step by step up the stairs. An exponential leap would be, how can I go up these steps 3 or 4 steps at a time? Now, I take myself back to when I was in my youth, and that was kind of the game. It was, now, I don't recommend you do this, but I do remember doing this as a kid, so it's probably not super safe. But at least from my childhood, you try to see if you could hop up 3 or 4 steps at a time, and so on. Now, if you miss, it's kind of a painful result, but that's different. But have that visual in your mind. It's not, even though transforming and improving, we can go step by step, and we do that generally, right? And that's fine to do that. But sometimes we want to find an exponential leap. It might be because, oftentimes, it's because the issue that we have is so significant, right, that we need to come up with an exponential leap because the issues are really pulling down our performance. So I'm just going to throw this out there as kind of a quick little tool, and this video will be short and sweet. But each department, let's say, I don't know how many departments you have. So let's say you have 5 or 6 departments. You may have more, whatever, doesn't matter. Each department, not department heads or managers, directors, any of those folks, just the broader team. Probably your more experienced, higher senior level members of those departments that aren't necessarily managers, okay? And then maybe one junior member, right? So four individuals. And for each department, give them an hour. And they're to come up with the three things, right, that are either slowing productivity the most, so slowing productivity, hurting quality, and or the biggest contributors to waste, right? Waste, all the wastes, okay? So they're to come up with and these need to be the top 3 pervasive problems in that department, not just to kind of invent like, hey, I've got to take 3 extra steps to go get a tool. That may be a thing, right? But this needs to be, remember, exponential leap. So, and while some of our improvements will be incremental, okay, this is a different type of exercise. Each department has 1 hour. They come up with the top 3 things that are hurting their productivity, quality, right, as it is derived from that department, right, and or contributing the most to waste, okay, to all the waste. And they come up with the top 3. So whatever those are, they need to be the top 3 things that are, because more than likely what they're coming up with is also slowing the organization down or hurting quality or creating waste that is also contributing to the other areas, right? So they're to come up with those, and then once they do, spend the remainder of that time brainstorming solutions, right? Not implementation. They don't need to do, this isn't a deep, research type thing. They can do quick research, right? Hey, if they use their phones or computer, laptop, whatever whatever your rules of the game where you are, to look certain things up, right? Great. An example might be, and I think I used this in the previous video, where an outfit for decades had purchased, I don't know, I think it was like $1,300 worth of tools, And because of that, it was it created a situation where they were missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars a week, okay, in production. Simple, right? If you want to put a dollar value on it just to make it fun and a challenge, say, hey, spending less than $2,000, because remember, this needs to be an intellectual, creative / intellectual, left and right brain, right? Employing both to find a solution to these, and the other part of this is they don't necessarily have to find a solution to all three, just one of the most significant of the three, okay? Because remember, there are probably going to be things that bubble up as the top three that might require capital investment. We're not talking about that. We're talking about ways of doing business, ways of doing the work, ways of operating, right? How can we address this, and so this is why we want to employ as much creativity to the situation. All right, you do that. And of course, one person's got to be the scribe. If you have a whiteboard or a room where they can use for a whiteboard, and they don't have to do it at every department at the same time and all that kind of stuff, whatever. You can use a whiteboard, or you could do it on a notepad. It doesn't matter. But take a picture, have them send you the picture when they're done. If you're the site leader and so on, right? Or could be your head of quality, could be facilitating all of this. But send you a snapshot of what they came up with, right? What they came up with. Okay, great. Have all of your departments do this, right? And have your support staff do this as well, because even though it's not necessarily always going to be, some of it will be non-value added. That's okay. There's some non-value added things that are going to contribute toward improving the other things, right? The other value added areas. So it's okay. Let your support staff do a similar exercise. All right, you do that. Collect all of that back. Then maybe about a week later, what you want to do is rotate the problem, these top three problems, to the different departments. So engineers won't be getting an engineering problem. They'll be getting somebody else's three problems. And what this does is it allows the other teams an opportunity to see what the problem is. Now, there will be a lack of expertise, but quite possibly, right? Because more likely your support staff isn't going to be able to solve an intricate engineering issue, but they may be able to solve one of the other contributing issues or things contributing to it, right? So, but you want to give them a crack at it and do this and rotate around, and also do this right out of the gate. When you're going to do the first hour on a particular week, say, let them know, hey, we're going to give you an hour for you guys to figure this out. But next week, we're going to rotate these to different departments and let them have an opportunity. What are we employing now? Human beings by nature are competitive, right? And even though as imperfect as we are, we all have ego and pride. I want to be able to, try to solve my own problems when I can, right? More often than not. And then when you make it about being creative and intellectual and all of that, then people, this way you get earnest and serious kickoff to this whole thing. And they're not going to just be in there going, yeah, we this, and they're just kind of visiting for 40 minutes, and then you get like 10 or 15 minutes of inputs. That's not what we're shooting for here. This is a good rapid improvement exercise. So the next week, you rotate it. And remember, I only have to do it for an hour. And then you proceed as you will, because you may find within 1 or 2 weeks of doing this that you get you get some solutions that are things you can take action on to actually deploy, right? And now this isn't a Kaizen event, all right? This is just a rapid improvement exercise to be able to drum up potential solutions that leadership can review and say, hey, you know what, this one right here. Or it may be a combined solution, right, between different departments. And you can take this out as far as you want. You could do this every week or twice a month, however you want to do it. Every week, if that's what your choice is. if you really want to rotate these around a lot to really get a lot of different input, do that. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. And then I think what you're going to find is you're going to find some solutions in there, right, that fit your model, right? Now, you may be somebody that goes, hey, we'll keep, whatever we need to do, less than $5,000, less than $2,000, whatever, different size businesses, different models, right? You use the model you want if you're going to do that. And as far as any resources they need to deploy the solution, right? So in the case where it was like $1,300 worth of tooling, well under $2,000, right? So there you go. So you have fun with that. Be creative. This isn't a you must do it this way. Have fun with it. If you want to add more incentives in there, do that if you want to, and then see what you get. And again, have fun with it. Make their participation worthwhile. Make it worthwhile to your organization. Remember, this is for the customer ultimately, but who is the customer? It is all of us, right? So when we're helping our end-use customers, we're always helping internal customers of the organization and all your team members too, right? So don't forget that. Take care of your team. All right, folks. See, I told you it was going to be a short one. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Remember, hit that good green domino 3 to 5 times a day or more to uplift, motivate, inspire, and just encourage one another. When you do this, not only are you helping to transform culture, but you're transforming your own life. But remember, you can't transform anything on the outside if you're not willing to transform on the inside. That's super important. All right, folks, have a fantastic day. Hit like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.